All right, looks like we're going to get started. This is David Baer from Baer on Marketing. Thanks so much for jumping on today's presentation. Presentation is called "The Public Controls Your Reputation and What You Can Do About It." So we'll dive into that in just a moment. First, I just wanted to do a quick introduction for those of you who don't know me. My name is David Baer. I have been working in some form of offline and online marketing for a little over 20 years now. I started in the theater and classical music industry, doing email marketing to sell tickets and subscriptions. I have worked in the wine industry. I started doing video marketing in the wine industry when I was trying to sell imported wines to professional wine buyers, and it was a really great, effective way of telling the stories of the farmer winemakers who I was representing. In 2009, I started with Facebook advertising and have been teaching courses on the subject, as well as helping a lot of clients put Facebook ads into place for their business. And in 2011, I started my own digital marketing agency that's called Baer on Marketing. And what do we do? Well, it's me and a team of marketing professionals who do general digital marketing. We build marketing funnels. I have copywriters on my team. I have search engine optimization specialists and pay-per-click specialists, video marketers, and I thought that was a pretty complete set of offerings until one day when I actually had a client approach me and say, "David, I desperately need help, and here's why." Right? She called wanting to deal with a disgruntled, unhappy customer, a client of hers. She's in the mortgage industry, and somebody had written something that was not very nice about her on a website called Ripoff Report. And so on that site, basically, there was this complaint, and my client very wisely responded in a balanced and reasonable fashion and said, "Look, we did take care of this. I don't know why you're complaining about it publicly. If you'd like to take this offline, I'd be happy to help address the issue," which is exactly what she should have done. But the problem was that anytime somebody started looking for information on my client, they would type her name into Google, they would type her business name into Google. The very first thing that somebody would see was this ripoff report. And so she wanted help getting it moved off of the first place of, or the first page of Google. And so we did that, and that was the first time that anybody had really raised the issue with me of reputation online, how they were being perceived by the public online. And I didn't think much of it at the time, but since then I have gotten many more requests for help with things like how do we deal with reviews and how do we respond to reviews. And it's a lot of coaching of clients to help them figure out how to address this, etc., etc. So obviously this is a much bigger subject matter issue for businesses than I had realized. It wasn't something I was thinking about at the time. And you got to sort of put this in perspective. If you think about what life was like back before the internet, and I know it's kind of hard to remember some of this stuff, but I mean, we were wandering around with paper maps in our hands, right? We didn't always have our mobile devices to guide us to everything. And when it came to reviews, remember these guys? So I grew up in New York. I was a big restaurant goer in New York, and every year I would get a large paper survey mailed to me. I would fill out the survey with thoughts and comments about my favorite restaurants and my least favorite restaurants, and I would mail it back in. And Zagat, as part of their survey process, would give me a free guide for the city or the region that I was filling out the survey for. That was what life was like back before the internet, right? We didn't have ease of access. Now, they've changed their system to actually move things online, and then Google bought them. Now Google is selling them. But, before all of this, there was the paper survey and things, when people wanted to learn about a business, you couldn't just jump on a computer and read about it. So as the internet has developed, well, so have the world of online reviews, right? Now there is an issue for businesses maintaining a good reputation online. And I'm not just talking about Zagats for restaurants or Yelp or Google reviews. I'm talking about Home Advisor for, in-home service companies. I'm talking about TripAdvisor for hotels and tour companies and all sorts of other specialty review sites for financial advisors, NerdWallet, or for senior care facilities. Every industry has their specialty review sites as well. And when consumers are making decisions, I certainly know I do, right? We are going to jump online to do a little bit of research before we make a purchase. Reviews guide us in so many things. I mean, just think about Amazon, for example, how much a review or the number of stars is going to guide you from one product to another, depending on public sentiment. All right, so let's talk a little bit about how this all works. Imagine if you owned a tree company in Jonesboro. I'm assuming this is Arkansas, right? That's the only Jonesboro I know. And this guy Wayne, 3 years ago, gave your business 5 stars, right? Glowing review. We had a great time with this company. They did an excellent job. But then last month, you had a little accident, and some of the pieces of a tree that you were taking out of somebody's backyard fell into their neighbor's yard, and you caused some damage. And what do? Well, they complain about it. They jump online and they complain about it. And suddenly that glowing 5-star reputation that you've enjoyed for 3 years becomes a 3-star reputation. Okay, so that's just one little review, and granted, these guys only have 2 reviews, but one little review that can impact your overall ratings. So, that's kind of the way that many businesses are dealing with this, because they're not managing this in any way whatsoever. All right. Businesses absolutely need to stay on top of this. And this is, granted, this is Twitter that we're going to look at here, but it proves a point that you need to be aware of what's happening online. So this is a classic example I love to share. If you've never seen this before, I think it's kind of a cool one. Wendy's is posting on Twitter, "Our beef is way too cool to ever be frozen." And then somebody says, "Hey, Wendy's, your beef is frozen. We all know it. Y'all know we laugh at your slogan, fresh, never frozen, right? Like you're really a joke," okay? And so what does Wendy's do about this? Well, they have a crackerjack social media team who's on top of this. And what do? They say, "Sorry to hear you think that, but you're wrong. We've only ever used fresh beef since we were founded in 1969. And the guy responds, "So you deliver it raw on a hot truck?" And Wendy's replies, "Where do you store cold things that aren't frozen?" All right, and then the guy starts attacking them. "Wendy's, y'all should give up. McDonald's got you guys beat with the dope-ass breakfast." So Wendy's, great reply. You don't have to bring them into this just because you forgot refrigerators existed for a second there, right? I totally love this. But you see that there's a lot of people out there who are going to be doing negative things, whether they're doing them like our previous slide here, Marcia did, or they're doing them to be just funny, silly, like this guy, right? So this is a review of, Ford's Theater, and good old Abe here gave it a 2-star rating. You can see his comments, "Was murdered here. Would not recommend." Of course, obviously a fake review, but this is something that businesses need to know about and need to be able to deal with, right? I think Ford Theater has kind of enjoyed this and they've kept it up here. But typically, how would you react to this if you were a business and you had somebody posting fake reviews, competition posting fake reviews? Now, I want to say this is a two-sided thing here, because fake reviews are not just posted by wise ass consumers out there or your competition. Businesses also post fake reviews, fake positive reviews on their behalf. And here's a quick screenshot of a website called reviewfraud.org, I think is the URL. And they actually track businesses who are posting good reviews, but aren't actually real good reviews. They are posted fake reviews, basically, to make themselves look better. Okay, so just a quick overview of how complicated, how complex this issue can get when it comes to online reputation and reviews. Now, if you're a business, right, you're right there. What do you want to do if you're operating a business in a local area? Well, consumers are typically looking for you, whether it's on their computer, whether it's on their cell phone, somewhere, they're looking online. And you'd like them to be able to find you as opposed to find the competition. That's really ultimately our goal. So how does this show up? Here's an example of a search that somebody did for a landscaping company, and in this case, this is Dallas, Texas, right? So just take a quick look at this, and you have three companies here. You have Roundtree Landscaping, you have Scapes, and you have Sea Green Landscape Irrigation, right? They are the ones who, when you type landscaping, Dallas, Texas into Google, these are what are going to show up at the top of the search results in what they call the 3-pack or the map 3-pack. And you can see, our first one doesn't have any reviews. Our second one has a 4.7 rating with 26 reviews, and our third one has a 3.6 rating with 16 reviews. So which one are you going to choose based on this? Just think about it for a moment. So when I asked this question, most people, and I'm pretty sure this is where your mind went as well. Most people choose Scapes. Obviously, they have the highest rating, they have the most number of reviews, and these are the kinds of factors that people weigh when they are looking for a business. So obviously, average star rating, the total number of reviews or total lack of reviews in the case of Roundtree, the review frequency, how recent the most latest review was, age of reviews, obviously. So again, recency. If that's a word, not sure. Average ratings across multiple sites. So, maybe you'll check out and you'll see Scapes here, and then what are you going to do? Well, a lot of people will check out a second or a third site. So maybe you would then go look up Scapes on Home Advisor or on Yelp and see what the reviews are there, just to see if it's consistent. Also, how a business responds to negative reviews. So if somebody leaves a negative review, does the business even take the time to respond? And also just the general sentiment of the reviews. Is there some context to what the positive or negative reviews actually say? All right, so now why is this important? Well, there's a lot of data to show, and I imagine that many of you probably are doing this right now, that you are searching for local businesses online, that you are reading reviews about local businesses, and Bright Local shows that 91% of people actually do read reviews. Most consumers look at 2 or more review sites before making a decision about doing business with a company. 84% of people trust online reviews as much as a personal recommendation. Now, this is a huge statistic. Why is it so important? Because I can ask my brother or my best friend for a recommendation, or I can go online and see the general public sentiment about something. And this stat is saying that 84% of people basically believe that those two sources of recommendations weigh equally. And then finally, 73% of consumers think that reviews older than 3 months aren't relevant. And you can imagine that businesses change over time. Maybe the same staff isn't there. Maybe the owners change. Who knows? And so having a recent review is pretty critical as well. All right. So this is just an example, but one of the things that as a business owner you should be doing is getting a sense of what your report card looks like when it comes to reviews. Go over to Google and Facebook and Yelp and wherever else. And by the way, you didn't necessarily set up these profiles. The public can. So you want to find out where you have feedback online and check it out and get a sense of whether there's actually a good or a bad sentiment about your business. So do you have good ratings? Do you have bad ratings? Do you have a lot of reviews? Do you not have any reviews? All of these are going to factor into how people are perceiving you online. All right, and then what are you going to do next? I would suggest that you actually take a look at your competition. So pretend like you are a consumer searching for a business like yours. So in this case, a pool installation service would be a good example. And so I can't remember what I typed into Google to get this screenshot, but I think it was, Portland pool service or Portland pool installation or something like that. And you can see we got basically 3 results. It shows up as 4 here. The first one, classic pool, spa, and hearth, that's actually an ad. And it subtly says that, but you can see they have 38 reviews and 4 stars. Then Wet Cat Pool it shows up twice here, and I'm not quite sure why. It looks like there's 2 different listings for them. One is swimming pool contractor, and the other one is pool cleaning service. Now they have a 5-star rating on one of those 2, but there's only 1 review. And then finally, custom pools and spas, and they have no reviews whatsoever. So, again, which one are you going to choose? Well, classic pool and spa and hearth may get my vote because they have a lot more reviews. Wet Cat, just not sure about them. So I would probably, click into them and do a little bit more research. But you can see that this is the process that consumers are using to make some buying decisions. All right, so here's a challenge. If you are trying to actually get your customers to leave reviews, it can be a little bit difficult, right? Why don't people leave reviews? Well, maybe they don't have time, maybe they forgot, maybe they don't know how. So the onus is on you as a business to find ways to get them to actually leave reviews. So what can you do to be proactive about getting people to leave reviews for you? There's sort of 2 different pieces of the puzzle. And this is to get reviews and then also to stay on top of the reviews, right? So when you are conducting business, I would advise that you add a regular procedure into your sales process, into your service process, depending on how your business is set up, to actually ask for feedback. Now, you notice I didn't say ask for reviews, because while you certainly can ask for reviews, you may get some people who are unhappy with you. And so what you want to do is ask for feedback and direct people to a particular place. I usually, would say someplace on your website makes sense to collect good feedback and bad feedback. So if you got feedback for us, let us know. We'd love to hear from you. We're always trying to improve our experience or our customer experience, and you're an important part of this, right? So when somebody gives you good feedback, great. When somebody gives you bad feedback, well, that's also helpful. But you have an opportunity now to thank them and then ask them for a next step. So if, they had a positive experience and they tell you so, one of the best things to do next is to say, great, we'd love for you to share this publicly. Here are a few places where you can share it. You can direct them to, those review sites that are going to be most important in your particular industry. Now, conversely, if their sentiment is bad, if they've had a bad experience with you, well, we don't want that going out to the public. Instead, I would redirect them to a form that they could fill out on your site to send you an email sharing the problem that they had so that you can deal with it privately. So that's kind of the overarching process that we teach our clients. And then the other thing is to continuously monitor review sites. So if there's a review that is positive or negative, take the opportunity to respond to it. The fact that you're engaged, that you're aware of what's going on out there, also speaks volumes to the general public when it comes to how you can be perceived as a great business online. So there you are. There's lots of different processes to approach this. There's the manual method, and then of course you've probably been seeing on these slides the Baer on Marketing and Review Lead logos. Well, Review Lead is a system that we have put in place to help our clients do everything that you see here on this slide. and I'd love the opportunity to show it to you in further detail. You can learn more about it in a few different ways. Feel free to reach out to me over here at my phone number. You can visit us over at baeronmarketing.com, and if you're interested in having a managed reputation and review management service in place for you, check us out at pdxrep.com, where I would love to sit down with you for 15 or 20 minutes, maybe on an online screen share, and walk you through the process that we use for our clients. And if it's a good fit, we'd love to have you come on board with us. Anyway, thank you so very, very much for spending a few minutes with me. My name is David Baer from Baer on Marketing. And again, you can check us out at pdxrep.com to learn more about our reputation management and review monitoring services. I appreciate you and I appreciate your time, and I wish you a good day. Take care.